You've got a big problem in your classroom and you don't know what to do about it. It's a real head scratcher. I'm going to show you a prompt template with a couple of examples and an extension to help you figure out not only what might the cause be, but also what you can do about it. Let's get started. Okay, let's begin with the template. Now, I will put a link in the comments down below where you can go and get the template and the examples for your own use. So you don't need to copy them down here. Just follow the link and go get them. All right, so here is the template. It's going to have three main parts. And the first part is the scenario. First of all, what's going on? What does the classroom look like? What do you expect to happen? What's the instruction, the kids, the grades? Basically describe the environment and the situation. The second thing you're going to do is say, okay, here is what I am observing. Here is the nature of the problem. When I say there's a problem, this is what I'm talking about right here, and you describe it. And the third piece is, why is it a problem? What are the effects of that thing happening, that behavior or that condition? So those are the three things that help the AI to understand the scenario. Then the second part of the template, well, what do you need from the AI? Three possible root causes for that condition or that behavior, some indicators, because there's going to be some choices here and the AI can't figure it out for you. So what we're going to ask for is some indicators that you can use to decide whether or not that's the root cause of the problem. And then for each of those possible root causes, what can you do? What are some options available to you for fixing it? All right, so that's the second part. And then the third part is basically other stuff. Other considerations. What else should you be considering when addressing this problem? What are possible next steps? And what are some possible supports for both you and the student, if it's a student type problem? So those are the three things, the three major categories that go into this particular prompt template. And what you would simply do is fill in and modify that first section, the context, the behaviors or conditions, and the effects. The rest of it is boilerplate. So once you get it, save it, and then just reuse it. All right, so let's take a look at some examples here. All right, so prompt 1. Here is the scenario. A, scenario, context, and here's what it is. Third grade class. Okay, here's what you're teaching, here's what the instruction looks like, here is what they're trying to learn. Okay, that's our scenario or context. But here's the observable behavior. Some students can complete it, but cannot explain it. And the errors seem to get worse when they have word problems. Okay, so that's the observed undesired behavior or condition right there. And then the effects, well, why is it a problem? And that's what you're describing here, increasing performance gaps, frustration, inefficient time, and so on. Okay, so for this example, those are the pieces that you modify, and then we simply ask the AI to help us. Three possible root causes and corresponding effects. For each of those, give me some indicators to confirm or reject that cause. And then for each possible cause, what can I do about it? All right, so that's boilerplate. And finally, what are some less likely reasons for this, right? Because you're going to get the most likely things, but everything isn't most likely. Sometimes there's some stuff out on the fringe as well. So that's what we're asking for here. And we're going to come back to that pretty carefully. All right, so what are some less likely reasons? What other concepts, conditions, or actions should I consider? And some likely next steps or other supports that I can use. All right. When I take all of that and I turn it over to AI, I get something that is honestly pretty good. Okay, So here's my first prompt up here, all that stuff we just went through. Then, what does it give me? Here is one likely root cause and what it looks like. Then I have my set of indicators. If this is the root cause, here are some things I should be able to look for or observe, right? So I'm going to think through these pretty carefully and say, does this really fit what I'm seeing? And if so, then maybe that's the cause. And if it doesn't fit, then that's probably not the cause. So these are indicators of that specific possible root cause. And then, if it is, here's some things that I can do about it. Mitigation strategies. And then it's going to go through the same thing with another possible root cause and a third one as well. Okay, so that's great. But then what it's going to give me is less likely causes. Here are some other things that are worth mentioning just in case they apply. And we're going to come back and do something with these in a moment. All right, so additional considerations, just instructional coherence, assessment, design, and some other things that you need to be thinking about and being taken into account. And here I got some differentiation and likely next steps. So here's the beginning of my action plan going forward. Really good stuff. Okay, and additional supports. In this case, for the kids. All right, and references, which we don't need, but I always ask for them. All right, so that's the first one. Let's do the second one very quickly because I want to show you how to follow up on those other possible causes. So here's number 2. This one is more around behavior. Student adequate tasks, inconsistent behavior during challenges, etc. Visibly frustrated, shuts down, frequent crying, right? That's every teacher's nightmare right there. We'd rather have kids break things than just break down crying. And what the student does, then we've got some effects of that as well. Like, that's the problem, and here's why it's a problem. And then all the same boiler stuff down below about root causes and indicators and so forth. All right, so very good. Now, it's going to go through something very similar here. An overview of what seems to be happening, right? Which is kind of nice because it helps us to put it into words what we're seeing. And possible causes, indicators, mitigation strategies, and so forth. And then less likely causes. And it's going to give me the other pieces also that I asked for. But I want to pay attention to this. What if I go through all those root causes and I say, yeah, maybe. But you know, this one down here, I wonder if it's not those other things or not just those other causes, maybe there's something else happening here and it's this. And here for my example, I'm choosing external stressors. Maybe there's something happening outside the classroom. Let me think on that and get some help thinking about that. All right, so other stuff, blah, 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 all the same stuff. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add a follow-up prompt, which is pretty simple, and it looks like this. The student might be experiencing problems with, and here is where you're going to drop in that other idea, that other possibility. You're going to ask, what might be some indicators to accept or reject the possibility? And if you do accept it, you think, you know what, that probably is it. What are some mitigating or corrective actions that you can take? So for this example here, I used external stressors, and I just dropped that in right there into my prompt. And let's see if we can get some help there. All right. Indicators to accept or reject it. If it is that, here are some things I should see. And if I don't see these things, maybe it's not that at all. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But if it is that, here are some things that I can do about it. So there you go, getting ChatGPT or AI help with the big problems in your classrooms. I hope you found this useful. Take care.